Guangzhou horror, ship shatters bridge, bus plunges, multiple deaths reported. Shocking Xingtai explosion, revenge blast kills 108, unraveling explosives mystery. China's high-speed train shakes uncontrollably, bearing ominous marks. China on brink of blizzard, mysterious Desicant grapple sparks cold wave chaos. Guangzhou hospitals overwhelmed with 10,000 respiratory infections, white lung death surge. Guangzhou horror, ship shatters bridge, bus plunges, multiple deaths reported. On February 22, a ship struck and severed the Liuliqiao bridge in Guangzhou's Nansha district, causing a bus to plunge into the water. Casualty details remain unclear. Online videos of the scene show a large red cargo ship tilted between two bridge piers below the sea-crossing bridge, with a section dozens of meters long completely sheared through. The fallen bus is now scrap metal, crushed under other vehicles in a devastating sight. Guangzhou Maritime Affairs authorities issued a warning statement saying around 5:30 a.m., a container ship sailing empty from Foshan Nanhai to Guangzhou Nansha struck a pier of the Liuliqiao bridge while passing the Hongqiu waterway, breaking through the bridge deck. The cause and casualties remain under investigation. The Liuliqiao bridge section is now temporarily closed off to traffic. Mainland Chinese media reports locals have evacuated with the ship owner-controlled. As the area's sole passageway connecting Wangqingsha town and Sanmen Island zones, the bridge is a vital transport link for residents. A Wangqingsha resident told Surging News he heard the Sanmen bridge collapse. Arriving on site around 7 a.m., he found the area already cordoned off. He saw a truck and bus had plunged into the ship, unsure if more vehicles fell in the water. The resident said other observing villagers told him a deafening boom occurred around 5 a.m. that shook window panes locally. Guangzhou Bus Group announced this morning driver Liang Jinhua was operating a bus across Liuliqiao Bridge at 5:31 a.m. when a ship collision below severed the bridge, causing the bus to fall with only the driver aboard. All contact has been lost amidst the enclosed scene barring access. Latest Guangzhou Maritime Rescue Center alerts report that as of 10 a.m., a total of 4 vehicles were involved. One electric motorcycle fell in the water alongside 2 cars, while 3 other vehicles landed onto the ship. So far 2 people have been rescued, 2 died, 1 crew member was injured, and 3 remain missing. Shocking Xingtai explosion, revenge blast kills 108, unraveling explosives mystery. On February 13th, the 4th day of the Lunar New Year, an explosion and fire occurred in Jinwan Mingdu community in Renzi district of Xingtai City, Hebei province. The blast wave from the explosion was huge, with almost all the windows on the 6-story building shattered. The doors and windows on the 1st and 2nd floors were completely blown off. The window frames of the 2 rows of buildings behind the building dropped and were severely damaged. A shop owner in the community said he heard a loud noise around 8 a.m. A restaurant owner said he heard the sound of an explosion. Online videos of the scene have led to questioning whether more than one explosion occurred, or whether explosions occurred in more than one building. As the authorities deleted a large number of related reports, the truth remains a mystery. Former Chinese media professional Zhao Lankai reposted a screenshot message on February 18, saying the Xingtai explosion was a revenge attack timed to inflict maximum harm, which had already caused 108 deaths. The explosion possibly used the extremely powerful explosives TNT and RDX. These claims currently cannot be officially confirmed. The real information has been suppressed and covered up. It can be determined that this community does not have natural gas, and neither a natural gas nor LPG explosion would have such great destructive power. In the Chinese New Year, 108 lives and over 100 families fell into disaster. The screenshot content shows, rumors say the Xingtai explosion in Hebei was a revenge attack. A bankrupt businessman took revenge on officials using the extremely powerful explosives TNT and RDX, and using remote detonation technology, which has caused 108 deaths. The information currently cannot be confirmed. But it was definitely not a natural gas explosion as initially claimed, because the community does not have natural gas access. If it was an LPG tank explosion, the damage would not be so disastrous as to destroy the entire building. On February 13th, Zhao Lankai released a video saying that disasters continued unabated across China over the new year, when suffering Chinese people finally get a few days to rest each year. Major fatal incidents occurred in places across the country. The large death tolls over the new year are distressing. The scale of the explosion in Xingtai, Hebei is not small, and countless more families fell into grief overnight. For Chinese people today, the new year has become more like a disaster for human life. On February 14th, some netizens also reposted screenshot messages saying the Xingtai explosion was a revenge attack using explosives of tremendous power, and the source is also clear now. The screenshot content shows someone saying, "The explosives used in the Hebei explosion were TNT and RDX. I know the source." The person explained that RDX, with the chemical name cyclotrimethylene trinitramine, also called cyclonite, can cause combustion and explosion when exposed to open flame, high temperatures, vibration, impact, friction. It is an extremely powerful explosive, 1.5 times more violent than TNT. There has been no official response to these messages so far, and no latest statements from officials in the past week. China's high-speed train shakes uncontrollably, bearing ominous marks. China's high-speed trains and railways have long been lauded as marvels of modern engineering, promising safe and efficient travel across vast distances. However, behind the facade of these supposedly state-of-the-art transportation systems lies a harrowing reality that few are willing to acknowledge. One of the most striking features of traveling on China's high-speed trains is the overcrowding. Passengers are crammed like sardines into the train cars, with every available inch of space filled to capacity. This lack of personal space can be suffocating, leaving travelers feeling claustrophobic and uncomfortable for the duration of their journey. Even when conductors announced the train's closing, passengers still resisted and prevented the train from departing, as seen in a recent incident during the Lunar New Year holiday when people scrambled to cram onto trains to return home to reunite with their families. But it's not just the overcrowding that makes the experience so unbearable. The incessant shaking and rattling of the train cars only add to the sense of unease. Despite being touted as a smooth and seamless mode of transportation, the reality is far from it. The constant jostling and vibration of the train make it impossible to relax or even maintain a steady grip on one's belongings. And then there's the sensation of dizziness and nausea that often accompanies a ride on China's high-speed trains. The combination of high speeds and constant movement can leave passengers feeling disoriented and unwell, turning what should be a straightforward journey into a nauseating ordeal. On the evening of October 13, 2023, the Guangdong-Shenzhen Metro Line 12 experienced a sudden malfunction while in operation, causing severe shaking of the train and eventually leading passengers to evacuate the scene by walking through the tunnel. The cause of the malfunction is still under investigation. Mr. Jiang, a passenger, was traveling on Shenzhen Metro Line 12 to Huaidi Station when the train experienced a malfunction. Video footage captured on his phone shows significant shaking inside the carriage, with some deformation even occurring at the connections between carriages. Passenger Mr. Jiang, "I filmed the video at 8:47 p.m. on the 13th, so the shaking occurred before 8:47 p.m. It lasted approximately 30 seconds to 1 minute. There was intense shaking, followed by a slowdown. Passengers indicated that the subway was approaching the station, and the speed was not fast. The subway staff promptly guided passengers to evacuate the scene through the tunnel in an orderly manner, and there were no reports of injuries." On the morning of the 14th, Shenzhen Metro issued an operational announcement stating that Metro Line 12 had resumed operation. The cause of the malfunction is still under investigation. China on brink of blizzard, mysterious Desicant Grapple sparks cold wave chaos. Recently, various parts of mainland China have successively welcomed rainy and snowy weather. Many areas in Henan, Hebei, and Shaanxi have seen Grapple, rice-like sized precipitation that some netizens have jokingly called a rain of desiccants or laundry detergent. Experts say Grapple is usually one of the early signs of an impending blizzard. Grapple refers to the small, opaque white ice pellets formed when water vapor in a high altitude condenses after encountering cold air, often ball-shaped or cone-shaped, frequently appearing before or during snowfall. Some regions call it rice snow or snow pellets. The diameter of Grapple generally ranges from 0.3 mm to 2.5 mm. It has a crisp texture and is easily crushed. Grapple is not considered a type of snow, but it is a form of solid precipitation. The white opaque conical or spherical solid precipitation that falls often appears sporadic. It bounces when hitting the ground and is crisp and easily crushed. It is formed from water vapor that condenses into small ice pellets after encountering cold air at high altitudes, frequently occurring before or during snowfall. Some experts have said that Grapple is usually one of the early signs of an impending blizzard. According to the website of mainland China's Central Meteorological Observatory on February 19th, at 6 p.m. on the 19th, Monday, the Central Meteorological Observatory successively issued an orange cold wave warning, blue heavy snow warning, blue dust storm warning, yellow heavy fog warning, blue strong wind warning, and blue thunderstorm warning. Affected by the cold wave, It is expected that from 8 p.m. on February 19th to 8 p.m. on February 22nd, most of central and eastern China will successively see falling temperatures from north to south, with average and minimum temperatures dropping 8 to 12 degrees Celsius. Temperatures in southern Hebei, western Huanghai region, Jianghuai region, Jianghan region, southern Jiangnan region, central and northern South China, Guizhou and other areas will drop 12 to 18 degrees Celsius. Some parts of southern Hunan, eastern Guizhou, and other regions may see accumulated temperature drops exceeding 20 degrees Celsius. According to other mainland China reports, as this cold wave moves southward, it will encounter quite strong warm and wet air currents, leading to long-term confrontation between cold and warm air masses. This will not only slow down the cold wave, but also bring about a complex large-scale rain and snow weather system. Starting on the 20th, the rain and snow will enter its peak period, with the snow line continuing to push southward from the 21st to 24th. Guangzhou hospitals overwhelmed with 10,000 respiratory infections, white lung death surge. The Chinese epidemic continues to break out. During the Chinese New Year, hospitals in Guangzhou, Zhejiang were filled to capacity. Local official media claimed over 10,000 people had respiratory infections. The actual situation may be even more severe. Local Guangzhou official media reported that according to data from the emergency departments of 4 major hospitals, the affiliated hospital of Guangzhou Medical University, Guangzhou Central Hospital, Guangzhou People's Hospital, and Guangzhou Hospital of Integrated Traditional Chinese and Western Medicine, approximately 30,000 people visited these 4 hospitals from New Year's Eve to the 8th day of the Lunar New Year, February 9th to 17th. The illnesses were mainly respiratory infections, and the resuscitation rooms were also filled with patients with lung infections of the respiratory system. Data from the affiliated hospital of Guangzhou Medical University showed that over 10,000 people visited the emergency center of the hospital, approximately 40% of which were respiratory illnesses like lung infections. The emergency department of Guangzhou People's Hospital received 600 to 700 adult patients daily, with over 200 pediatric emergency patients daily. Among these emergency patients, the majority suffered from respiratory infections. One doctor said that in previous years there wouldn't be many fever patients on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, but this year there were quite a few who came in with fevers starting on New Year's Eve. From the 1st to the 3rd day of the Lunar New Year, the number of patients visiting the emergency departments of the affiliated hospitals Nanbei Xi'an and Gongyuan Road campuses continued to climb, already exceeding twice the usual daily volume. The number of people visiting the emergency area reached 3 times the usual capacity, with patients lining up in the emergency passageway 24 hours a day waiting to be seen. One doctor said that during the New Year, the resuscitation room at affiliated hospital number 1 was filled to capacity, with the number of patients admitted reaching the peak capacity. Beds were added wherever there was space. Although China has seen wave after wave of respiratory infections since the initial coronavirus outbreak, after declaring victory against the epidemic, hospitals no longer conduct large-scale testing for COVID-19. The authorities explain each wave of infections as influenza, mycoplasma pneumonia, and so on. According to Chinese media reports and online messages, large numbers of white lung and deaths have occurred among China's respiratory infection patients. In some areas, funeral homes have again seen long lines for cremation services.